Today is episode 80 with Dr. B.
Welcome to the Living Beyond ADHD podcast. If you're looking for a fresh perspective and actionable steps on hot topics, from focus to follow through to self-management and more, you are in the right place. Welcome your host, innovative educator, coach, and psychotherapist, Dr. B.
Hey there, achievers. If you think it's ADHD that's been biting you in the butt all these years, think again. It's your underdeveloped executive function skills. These skills are critical for living a productive and satisfying life because they help you make better decisions, practice good time management, and develop strong relationships. And without them, it's easy to feel adrift in a sea of chaos, absolute chaos. Developing your executive function skills is a big key to your success, to staying on schedule, making better financial decisions, having healthy relationships, boosting your memory, paying your bills on time, maintaining a neat workspace and home, following an organizational system that works for you. And the good news? These skills can be learned no matter what age you are, no matter where you're located in the world. All it takes is the right training, strategies, and support. Not sure if this is part of what's going on with you? Well, I've created an easy self-test to help you see how much of your life is affected by underdeveloped executive function skills. So if you want to learn the 13 skills that you need to succeed and understand why it's more than what we're calling ADHD these days, you can download the free guide and learn how you can tap into your full potential. You'll find the link in the show notes. You know, being an achiever isn't just about developing your executive function skills. You also need to become the person who is the achiever, instead of thinking of yourself as the person who is the ADDer. Saying, I am an achiever, is the first step to taking on an empowering new identity, just as saying, I am an ADDer is a step that reinforces keeping the same old disempowering identity. Let me explain. An identity is a full package deal, complete with beliefs, behaviors, and a way of life. Have you ever wondered why you can't consistently be an achiever, especially when you know what to do to achieve? Knowing isn't enough. You might have the knowledge of what to do, but if you aren't the person who can consistently do what you know, then the knowledge isn't helping you, is it? A quick example. When I say, I am an athlete in training, that's an identity statement, and I know exactly what my life is going to be, from my bedtime to my waking time, training, nutrition, hydration, and so on. I know that I'm all in on being that person when I make that statement. If you've ever attended a 12-step meeting, they ask you to identify by putting up your hand and stating, I am an alcoholic, addict, codependent, binge eater, smoker, gambler, etc. Anything that follows the words I am is an identity statement about yourself. When I realized that years ago, I stopped making those statements. It's not because of ego or that I didn't know my history or where I started from. It's that I didn't want to continue to reinforce an identity that I was undoing for good. I am not ADD or ADHD. I am not an ADDer, and neither are you. We are more than a label or a list of symptoms. You and I are precious children of God or the universe, whichever you prefer. That is who we are. We are the human being that matters because we were born. The human doing could be the addict, alcoholic, codependent, or ADDer because the human being is struggling in life. However, all of those addictions are behaviors, not identities, until or unless we make them identities. I took a stand for what I believe roughly 30 years ago, and I still stand by that belief today. I am me, you are you. An ADDer is a person who meets the criteria for a list of symptoms of ADHD with or without hyperactivity. And oh, by the way, if you have a mind that is constantly busy with thoughts or images or daydreams, kind of like the freeway at rush hour, that's hyperactivity, just cognitive, not physical. And since most of the adults living with an ADHD configured mind have this busy mind, perhaps we are all combination and not just inattentive. And certainly a busy mind isn't enough to determine that you have an ADHD mind. It's just one piece of the puzzle. There are many adults who have a busy mind and not ADHD. So consider the following about ADHD and executive functions. There's a critical situation in the mental health field that isn't widely known to you, the consumer of these services. Most every professional is studying the same outdated information about ADHD, depression, anxiety, trauma, and addictions, if they are, rather than studying what's relevant, cutting edge, and important to know so that you, the consumer, gain benefit more quickly when seeking services from a mental health professional. You probably know more about ADHD than many of the professionals that you've sought help from. In some parts of the world, it can take months or even years to obtain a diagnosis of adult ADHD. And if you're one of those who suggests that you might have ADHD rather than the professional you're working with making the suggestion, is that truly your responsibility? The most common treatment route that's recommended for adults diagnosed with ADHD is medication, and the same is true for depression and anxiety. Yet depression, specifically major depression, is going to become the number one disability in the year 2020. That's now. Treatment has plateaued and the information is being withheld from you. It is not always true that medication is the best solution right away. In fact, for many of you, it isn't a good option at all, and for others, it's helpful. I get it. I've been there. All the professionals that you've seen are telling you that you're in need of something outside of yourself to help you cope. How many of your friends have been recommended or perhaps are taking medication for ADHD, depression, or anxiety, yet not getting to the root issue and correcting it there? Probably lots of them. And how many of them are thriving with just medication and perhaps a little therapy or a little coaching? You know, there's no skills in pills, and if therapy or coaching isn't providing executive function skill training, then something important is still missing. Did you know that there are 0 requirements for mental health professionals to know anything about adult ADHD or executive function deficits? 0. And that executive functioning has been lumped together with an ADHD diagnosis and doesn't even have a diagnostic code of its own in the DSM-5. For a field that is based on do no harm, that is not what I see happening. You are being harmed every time that you work with an inadequately trained mental health professional. And mind you, it isn't their fault, and yet they are 100% responsible 100% of the time for the training that they seek. You are in the middle of this poorly managed field of expertise where, despite requests to have this information included in the curriculum, as well as added to continuing education for those already licensed, the answer continues to be no. So let me ask you this. Do you like being told how things are and what the only options are that you have? Probably not. When someone tells you that's just the way that it is with adult ADHD and you can expect to have a harder time than others, do you accept it? Do you allow their beliefs to run your life? Yes? And are you sick and tired of their limited beliefs and methods not meeting your needs? Are you tired of the quality of your life getting worse and worse as the years pass because the real problem isn't getting addressed? Are you tired of seeing time passing and feeling frustrated that you aren't achieving the things you wanted to achieve with your lifetime? If you believe that you have a right to the information that has been kept from you up to now, that you have the right of informed consent, to be fully informed of all options available to you before you consent to how you will make the most of your time here. Are you going to continue to be one of the millions who blindly follow the mainstream advice, which is giving you an incomplete picture of your options and not fully helping you to succeed? Are you going to release that reality and explore a different reality so that your needs get met and you live the successful life that awaits you? The world is presenting us with the answers if we are present for them. It's time that we embrace those answers and change the options we see for our mental health needs. That change starts with options thinking and curiosity about what's truly wrong and what's really possible. Together as a people who have mental and emotional health needs, just as we have body health needs, we have a right to the complete picture. If you're someone who believes that you have the right to take back the control and the outcome of your mental and emotional health, then you already understand the need for change. What the mental health field is doing isn't addressing your complete needs. The way I see it, you have a couple of options. You can do nothing and continue believing that you're being taken care of well by those who serve you, and allow your mental and emotional health and well-being to be in the hands of others. Or join me in making a change in beliefs and actions for your mental and emotional health and well-being, and letting others know what you've learned, and that education and executive function skill training will give you control over the outcome of how your mind functions. You are the thinker of your thoughts, and you are the meaning maker of your life. The choice is yours. This is a multi-generational problem that's only getting worse. Will you put your foot down now and have the problem stop with you and this generation? Our children, the next generation, need us to be fully functional, to raise them to be fully functional too. They're looking to us. What are you going to show them? And when are you going to show them? The time is now. It's the only time that we actually have to make a change. This moment, now. In the foreword of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which was printed in 1939, it states, "We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book." A seemingly hopeless state of mind and body is reaching epidemic proportions as it relates to depression, anxiety, trauma, chronic illness, ADHD, and addictions, both behavioral and substance. And underlying these various conditions, I am seeing the compromised development of executive function skills and strategies, which are the essential skills that we all need to thrive as an adult in today's world. If you can't plan, organize, prioritize, get started, keep going until the end, or you can't regulate your states so that you aren't in a state of overwhelm or analysis paralysis, If you can't make a solid decision, it's going to cost you dearly. I'm glad you could join me for today's episode. Are you telling yourself stories or reliving your past failed attempts and making your reality that today? You're probably not doing this consciously. However, many of us base our current reality on possibilities of what we've done in the past. Statements like, "This is just how I am," or "This doesn't feel like me," or "I can't see myself living that way," are common. In fact, pay attention to your language and your sensory modalities with the words that you use. I see, I hear, I feel, because these are indicators of visual, auditory, or kinesthetic modalities of what's primary for you. And you can turn it around to see, hear, or feel in the positive instead of the negative. What's wrong, if I'm going to use that word, is what lies deep inside our mind. Our subconscious mind, the non-conscious part of it, the part of the mind that stores all the stories and associations and meanings that you and I have made out of the events of our lives. In the 70s, when I was studying hypnosis and theory of the mind, we were taught that only roughly 10% of our mind's capacity is conscious, meaning only 10% is actively engaged in thinking, logic, reasoning, and willpower. The other 90% is actively engaged in identifying and associating and reacting to what's already stored in our subconscious mind. Ever wonder why you get triggered so easily by things that happened in the past that really don't seem like they're a big deal now? The events of today are getting fueled or amped up by the meaning we gave to the events of the past and raising the level of intensity that we experience today. I've said this before. You are the meaning maker of your life. You spin the stories, the meaning, the reasons, justification, and logic that drives your life on autopilot. Similarly, we need to be all in with whatever approach we decide to take to help ourselves achieve a more productive and satisfying adult life. Based on my own recovery of how it used to be to what it is today, I suggest a daily plan of being in action on the steps that you need to take to put your challenges behind you. The steps we need to take differ from those of AA, however, there are similarities. Here are a few examples. We need to recognize the underlying issues, not just the symptoms. We need to rework our beliefs so that they support our healing. We need to acknowledge that the support of a community is essential to our growth and healing. We need to take a personal inventory and executive function skill assessment to gain clarity about how our thinking, feelings, habits, and lack of skill development have been contributing to our seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. The skills we need to more fully develop include our ability to have perspective, see reality, inhibit, shift, emotional control, self-monitor, initiate, hold and integrate information with our working memory, plan, schedule, organize, prioritize, have a clear sense of who we are and where we want to go, focus, monitoring tasks, organizing our physical things, and maintaining what we achieve. We also need to learn how to trust ourselves and keep our word to ourselves, not just with others. We need to learn to be 100% responsible for the outcomes that we're seeking, even when no one else knows what we're pursuing. We know. We each make this journey for ourselves. However, it doesn't imply that we go it alone, not at all. We need the mirroring and support of others, a community, to more fully understand our common challenges and to encourage each other to be all in and to do the work that we all need to do so we can receive the benefits. And we need to become aware of our exits, or the ways that we escape the healing work, and close all of our exits. We need to focus on the path through our issues rather than the escape hatch to avoid them. Knowing what my life was like before healing from my own seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, and what it is today, still a work in progress, I am in awe of the transformations and so grateful for my willingness to do the healing work. I definitely know a new freedom and a new happiness, and I see how my experiences can benefit others, how it can benefit you. The vehicles for sharing my experiences have been Facebook Live videos, this podcast show, and my online programs. You are not alone in your pain or your potential. There are millions of adults all over the world with many of the same struggles that you're experiencing. I know the struggles from speaking with people in the UK, Ireland, Australia, Canada, and throughout the United States. However, unless I help you get out of your pain and into your potential, then it's good to know that you're not alone. But what about your pain or your serious problems? What happens to them? I'm getting there. I want you to remember that you are not what you do or don't do. You are more than that. We are not defective or less than as people, as human beings. We're just wired differently. And the difference is actually pretty cool once you have a different perspective and the tools you need for your own success. It's almost story time, but first, you need a win. You need to acknowledge and celebrate at least one thing that's good about you or has gone right for you today. Perhaps you've joined the Living Beyond ADHD Facebook group and are benefiting from the live Q&A videos that I do there twice a month. That's definitely a win. Or maybe you're feeling less alone as a member of that community because of all the interacting on posts and during the Facebook Lives. That's an awesome win. Or maybe you're becoming clearer about your automatic reactions and habits and have started to take them apart and create new ones that benefit you. That's a great win. It's really important that you celebrate a win today, even if you're feeling so bad about yourself because your ADHD is taking your life to an all-time low, and you just don't feel that you can turn it around yet another time. I get it, and yet it doesn't take away from the fact that at least one thing has gone right today or is right with you. You are a precious child of the universe and are called a human being, not a human doing, for a good reason. You don't have to earn your value. You were born with it. Your value comes from who you are, not what you do. Got it? I hope so, because you're going to keep hearing me say it, because it's so important to your self-esteem and your quality of life. Let's transition now to our story for today with 2 important points and action steps, plus a favorite quote of mine. How much time do we have? Not much. So let's get to it. Today's 2 important points are: what can happen when ADHD and underdeveloped executive function skills are lumped together for a diagnosis and treatment, and giving a new meaning to ADHD and underdeveloped executive function skills.
This podcast is sponsored by Pure Potential with Dr. B. You can head over to drbarbaracohen.com and find the podcast transcript, great free content, plus information on programs and services, including the groundbreaking Adventures in Achievement online coaching program and one-to-one services with Dr. B. That's drbarbaracohen.com.
Now back to being a human being and an achiever in today's world with a unique brain that we each possess. I'm going to share a story with you today, as well as talk about your responsibility in this. That's right, responsibility, or your ability to respond. Since you are not off the hook here, you are 100% responsible 100% of the time for the outcomes in your life. and I hope that this story will resonate with you and be of benefit. Transitioning to today's story. Betsy grew up believing that her ADHD was a disability because everybody at home and in school told her so. They told her about the many things that she wasn't able to do or took too long to do, hence she was disabled or globally unable. Betsy loved to visit the library, and she did so every week. No one saw the point in her visits there, since she wasn't going to read beyond an elementary level. That might have stayed true if Betsy hadn't seen the books As a Man Thinketh, A Course in Miracles, The Daily Lessons, and Think and Grow Rich. All three books had the same message for Betsy, which was that whatever she believed is and would be true for her, could be true for her, and could be what she achieved. The books didn't say that it had to be something that was true for anyone else other than her. It seemed like a powerful secret that Betsy had discovered and held close for years. When Betsy graduated high school, everyone was shocked. They wondered how such a disabled young girl could have achieved such a feat. And when Betsy applied to attend university, there were still doubters ready and willing to offer their opinions about how Betsy would just be wasting her time, effort, energy, and money because she was disabled or unable, and that's just how it was. Betsy knew better. She had learned about the power of her mind to craft a reality for herself that she could lean into and live a purposeful and successful life. She believed she could do that again with her university education, and she did just that. Her other secret weapon was that she sought training to develop her underdeveloped executive function skills so that she would truly be unstoppable. Some background facts. ADHD diagnostic criteria are a list of symptoms that are based on boys' symptoms, not girls'. And the criteria is certainly missing many of the symptoms that adults manifest, in addition to the following. The three core symptoms of ADHD being inattentive, hyperactive, and/or impulsive are what medication can be helpful for if that's what you or someone else opts for. And unless all of the rest of the symptoms are directly the result of those three core symptoms, then they are the result of underdeveloped executive function skills and need training to develop them. I repeat, the three core symptoms, inattentive, hyperactive, and/or impulsive, might be helped with medication if that's what you opt for, and unless all the rest of your symptoms are a direct result of those three core symptoms, then you really need to be taking a look at the underdeveloped executive function skills that you have and the need to train and develop them. So what are these list of symptoms and criteria in the latest diagnostic manual? Well, the DSM-5 says that we need to have 5 out of 9 for adults in the inattention impairments, like inattention to details, careless mistakes, difficulty maintaining focus, don't seem to listen when we're spoken to, doesn't follow through on instructions and tasks, difficulty organizing tasks and activities, avoids sustained mental effort tasks, often loses necessary stuff, and easily distracted. What pops out at me is difficulty organizing tasks and activities. Because if this is not a direct result of being inattentive, then this is the result of an underdeveloped executive function skill about organizing tasks and activities, plain and simple. The other one I didn't include here is often forgetful in daily activities. Moving on to the hyperactive and impulsive impairments, again, needing 5 of the 9 for adults. That we fidget, tap hands, feet, we squirm, we leave our seat when we're expected to sit, run or climb inappropriately, unable to play or do activities quietly, always on the go, talk excessively, blurt out answers before questions are finished, have difficulty waiting our turn, and interrupt others. These definitely sound like the criteria of kids, not adults. This is the criteria that diagnostics are being used to diagnose us. The one that jumps out here is interrupts others, because this isn't necessarily happening because of impulsivity or being hyperactive. Some of the people I work with personally, my students or clients, interrupt others and jump in and don't wait because their working memory is so weak and they don't know to write things down. They're constantly interrupting because they don't want to forget. Just something to consider. So we're the thinker of our thoughts and the meaning maker of our lives. We, each of us, get to decide what something means or doesn't mean for us. If you believe something to be true with all your heart, you will find a way. Whether that way is apparent to anyone else is irrelevant because it's true for you and you're determined. Many adults have stopped believing in the miracles long before the end of their days, and so their days continue in emptiness until the actual end. Everything is made up anyway. Everything that we tell ourselves, it's all made up. We spin the stories or the rationale for the facts that we take in every single day. And we know that if we ask 10 different people about facts, we're going to hear 10 different stories. And I'm not saying that what you can't do in this moment isn't true, whether it's that you can't walk or read or balance yourself or see a pattern. However, that doesn't mean that it'll be true forever. You can learn to see the pattern or read the words or make meanings out of them if the right teachers and tools are available to you to repattern your mind into what you need it to be to achieve what you need and want to achieve. And once you've repatterned your mind, you can repattern anything that your mind controls. If you relate to Betsy's story, your action steps are: focus first on what's right with you and your situation, and see the possibilities before you tackle what you need to upgrade or change. Follow through on leveraging your strengths or gifts in the service of your dreams. They can only take flight with wings, not weights. And self-management is critical for the times when your mind slips into disbelief and you weaken in your resolve to achieve your dreams. Forgive yourself for the slip. Learn the lesson and double your efforts moving forward instead of giving up, because it's only in giving up your belief in the inevitability of your success that you will truly fail. A favorite quote of mine. Socrates said, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new." The question I have for you at this point of our journey together is, are you ready to build your new life and move into it, rather than continually trying to remodel your old life? I hope so. It's a much better use of your energy. And whether you're learning from my podcast episodes or live videos or working with me directly, you're in my world and I'm here to serve your needs. So be sure to reach out and get your needs met. In the show notes, you'll find links and information for the 13 executive function skills, for the Living Beyond ADHD Facebook group, where I go live twice a month to answer all of your questions, as well as offer a little additional training, and the wait list for my signature program, Adventures in Achievement, Foundational Skills. Enrollment for the January group is starting now. I appreciate you showing up to listen today and in the future. I've been away for a while, and I'll be returning to producing regular new episodes for you. I've missed sharing valuable information with you and hearing how you're benefiting. As a subscriber, New episodes will automatically be in your feed as soon as they're released. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of the other episodes, please share this show with your friends and family, as well as rate the show. If you'd like to do a little more, write a thoughtful review on iTunes so that I know that I'm meeting your needs. I love hearing from you, my listeners, wherever you're located in the world. And it means a lot to me to know that your life is getting a little bit better every time we get together. So be sure to check out the show notes. I have solutions to the challenges that you're experiencing because I lived with those same challenges, made my way out, and definitely want to help you get out too. That is, if that's of interest to you. Thanks for listening. Until the next time, bye for now.
Thanks for your undivided attention. If you're eager to make positive changes in your life, head over to drbarbaracohen.com to see how Dr. B can help you today. Whether you love making changes with community support in a group environment or prefer one-to-one coaching or psychotherapy, you'll find all the information you need to get started at drbarbaracohen.com.